This is Providence Television International, the game changer. Honestly, it's so nice to be back with you on this program. The program is Prime Movers, and we want to welcome all our viewers at home and abroad, particularly those in Europe, in North America, and also in Asia. Thank you very much for your wonderful attention that you pay to our station. Now, today we have a guest who is so loaded by way of his CVs. You'll get to know the reason. We're talking about a man who has been State Director of Planning, Budget and Finance, the old Bender State. He has seen it all. He was the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Finance, Commerce and Industry, Edo State. He is an international consultant, public finance, management to the World Bank, UNDP, and WHO, etc., etc. And is also a distinguished merit award winner of the Institute of Administrators and Researchers of Nigeria, 2020 Nobel Peace Prize nominee. His latest book, of course, is Rich Nation, Poor People. We'll talk about all of this. We'll also talk about his heroes. But first of all, I think it's important to introduce our guest for this week. And our guest is nobody else but Professor Johnson Egoma. Thank you very much for being here, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you very much. So he's joining the league of eminent guests on this program. Let's start from a point that is quite convenient and it's very meaningful. I'm told that you were a 2020 nominee for Nobel Peace Prize. How did that come about?
Well, the first thing to know is that there are procedures, stringent procedures for Nobel Peace Prize award. And one of the stringent requirements is that you must have eminent sponsors in different fields of endeavor. And I'm a professor of so many years, emeritus, professional fields, engineering fields, humanities,
Yes.
so on and so forth. 2 or 3 or even 4, I can't remember exactly, must put their signature to testify that you are worthy
Of the award.
of the award. And so it is after that, looking back at the pedigree of those sponsors, your application can only be considered. And they will look at his achievements, what value he has been to the society,
Good.
your communities, and so on and so forth, and internationally, what you have contributed, before it will be passed to another committee to decide who should win the award.
So you went through the crucible.
I went through this crucible successfully, and I got to the last place of who is to gain the award. Well, I did not go beyond that nomination stage.
It's very competitive, really.
Very, very competitive, and the criteria are also dynamic. You see, and for a long time they were not even looking at Africa. But the people from Africa, one guy or so, started writing that is it only for the Europeans and
Yes, exactly.
and that was how our brother came in then, Wole Soyinka.
Yes.
So there are people who have applied more than 10 times and still applying to even get acceptance. You see, so that's why even nomination is a very critical aspect.
But you are happy though that you
I'm very, very happy.
Oh, yes.
That's why I also put it in my CV.
In your CV. But I'm curious. Why peace? Why not economics, for example?
They call it economic sciences. And you know that's a very wide...
yeah, but in your own case, it's supposed to be...
a development economist.
Yeah, but the Peace Prize, that's what you said.
The what?
The Peace Prize, a nominee for Peace Prize.
Mine was to be in economic sciences.
Okay.
So for economic sciences.
Oh, okay. So I was just wondering, really.
Yes.
Okay. That's all right.
Yes.
That's okay. So thank you very much. Well, congratulations. It's part of your CV, and we'll continue to talk about that.
Thank you very much.
You were in Bender State as director. What experience do you draw from that environment? Did it help you in any way?
As a director then, it was a very busy and tasking time for me. As the director of planning and budget, it wasn't easy. It was like the hub of government was revolving around me. And that's why you will find that I was virtually in every council that was set up in the state at the time. From the University Governing Council to board of directors of different companies. And I still have to come and do the fiscal planning. Fiscal, that's financial.
I know, yes.
Planning for the state. And so, then it was data, and so it was quite a hectic time for me. There was no dull moments. And to the glory of God, I also applied myself. It's one thing to occupy a position and to be committed and take joy in doing your work without a hammer over you.
Yes.
Or when your boss is not there, you quickly take that out to go and drink in the bar.
Yes.
That is the discipline we are talking about.
And they prepared you for greater challenges, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So by the time my time was up in the civil service, it was just like flowing into the private sector.
Good.
Because my tenure, that post, exposed me to both private and public sector, including the civil society organizations. And then, and you know that government structure is very hierarchical. So to be able to liaise with your left ear and this, so you are blinkered. So you need to look vertically. So, but by my planning system then, I tried to embrace the cooperative aspect of our... And it wasn't easy for many civil servants.
That's true.
Because many will feel they are losing power. And that loss for power is always there. You see, when people fail to delegate, the reason behind it is always lost for power.
Good.
And so the best they can do is to delegate nominally without effectiveness. They give you semblance of the power and hold it. So,
yes, I understand what you're talking about. Now, let's look at it more holistically. Look at Nigeria, for instance. You are seeing it through. Why are we where we are? By now, we should be a developed country, by all standards. Why do we remain stagnant? A lot of countries around the world, I've said it on this station, they've left us behind. Why are we still a developing country?
Well, this calls for the question of separating growth from development.
Yes.
Certainly we are growing,
okay,
but we are not developing. We have all it takes in terms of resources, mineral resources, human,
yes,
waters, minerals, petroleum, forests, name it. What don't we have? But have we been able to harness?
Yes, these resources.
So when you are talking of development, what you are talking about is equitable distribution of resources, so that you can't be having oases of poverty in the midst of plenty.
So what's holding us back?
There are many things I give you. Let me look at it from the other angle, that there are certain core values
Good.
that you must have to either remain developed or you develop at the time it evaporates. So that's where you have the concept of sustainable development.
Sustainable.
That's what we talk about. And there are certain core values, 5. I give them to you.
Yes.
The first one is discipline. The first is discipline. Like, you do something even if you don't want to do it, but you know it's right. You do it.
Good. Yeah, second one.
The second one is determination.
Yes.
When you are determined, nothing can stop you. You are unstoppable.
Yes.
If you are determined. The third one is attitude and effort, which is you. Those are things you can control, your attitude and your effort. I cannot come and control that for you.
Good.
It's from you. Then the fourth one is consistency. You are not dancing like the drunk, whose dance will not be coordinated. So, if you remain, and these criteria are also very important to your own personal life, just as important to the community, the society, and the nation as a whole. Then, of course, have we talked about consistency?
Yes, we have.
Yes. Consistency makes you to excel. You see, because you are in the right direction. If you are consistent in
You are
doing the wrong
focused.
things,
You are focused.
you are focused. Then, of course, the final thing, which is the fire, the fuel, is the passion.
Good. Very good.
The passion.
Very good.
You see, that's the fuel that drives the whole process. Without these 5 core values, you can only be in motion without progress. You will be like a person on a swivel chair, and you are doing a merry-go-round, and you think you are making progress, but you are static. That's exactly our situation.
Our leaders, are they embedded in all of this?
Yes. So leadership is the engine that should be driving all of this. And he should be an epitome of all these core values for people to see. You see, that's why we talk of Obama. When the morale of every American was at its lowest
Yeah, that's
ebb,
Obama days.
he came in as a situational leader to boost up their morale. And he did.
He did, yes. There was an audacity of hope.
Audacity of hope, see, which he practicalized.
Good.
And that was why he was able to get a second term unchallenged.
Oh, yes, oh, yes. Oh, yes.
So it became a transformatory leadership in the sense that he puts his interest behind and projects the public interest at a sacrifice.
And you say that our leaders don't do this.
And many of our leaders are self-centered. Many of the African leaders past, because many of them are just ascending now, so it's too early to judge. But if history is to, they say those who forget history are condemned to repeat it.
Condemned to repeat it.
So these are the issues, these core values: discipline, determination, attitude and effort, consistency and passion, and the necessary ingredients. And that's why we also talk of growth. Growth is a necessary condition for development, but it's not a sufficient condition.
Good.
growth is measurable, and you can touch it. You can touch your railway line.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it, but the non-quantitative, the qualitative aspect is where you reside development. The type of human beings you have, are they dedicated and committed to what they are doing?
Good.
Are they honest? Are they trustworthy? Are they enjoying the best of health in terms of sound mind in a sound body?
In other words, that makes it for people to say that Nigeria is not a developed country.
No.
Good.
By this criteria.
Exactly.
Because whether you like to hear it or not, you remain the poverty capital of the world.
Mm. In spite of the resources.
In spite of the resources.
That we have. Okay, good.
That's the contradiction this book is trying to. That unless there's a change in mindset, change your mindset of corruption.
We'll come to the book. We'll come to
Yes.
the book very shortly.
So these are the issues
Good.
in the question of growth
And development.
development.
Where did we get it wrong then? Can you remember?
The concept?
No. I mean, this issue of development vis-a-vis growth.
Well, look, as a researcher and as a doer who spent more than 25 years in executive positions in the public service, well, apart from the theoretical background acquired through training and all that,
Mm-hmm.
my practical experience in dealing with people, society, and so on, provided me the impetus to know what these issues of growth and development are. I'm not just a theoretician, but a practitioner.
Yeah, but the question remains, at what point did we get it wrong?
Well, this has been ascribed to many factors. Most people believe that most of this moral decadence came with the military.
Okay.
That before the military, things were done rightly. You don't need to know any person when you submit your application.
That's true.
Orderliness, like we who came in from the university then to join the administrative class. There are certain competitive examinations you must take. Not only the examination, you will go for about 2 or 3 weeks extended interviews to be able to assess your personality traits, whether you'll be fit to be an administrator. So a situation is created for you that you'll be meeting your real life situation. Simulations. During the interviews, you are taken through all these processes for 2 or 3 weeks or so. And then before you are judged fit to become an administrative officer in
those days, yes.
In those days.
Yes.
Unlike those who came in with specialists, who came into the specialist field like engineering, agriculture, architecture, and all that, they didn't need to take any exam. And they were not promotable to the position of permanent secretaries then. You see. And it was the Queen class.
In your time, you people belong to a special class, permanent secretaries in those days. Could that be the reason why you are considered to be an exceptional species, for example?
But there are also some failures. Again, your exposure, your commitment, your drive, you see, and your passion, your effort, your attitude also count for the difference. You see, in every system, those who get to the top, you cannot rate them equally. because of these factors.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
You see,
So what's your perception of the present core of permanent secretaries?
Well, they must reflect the society. Because there's a principle that you cannot grow above your society, otherwise the society will eliminate you.
It's true.
It's a Darwinian principle.
Darwinian, yes, that's true.
So, if the society is upright, committed to a cause, have a direction, the current permanent secretaries have no alternative than to be that. But if it's rushing after money, getting rich quick syndrome, is the value now, of course, they'll be roped in. And then you can't grow above your society. That's why systemic corruption is everywhere. What do we mean by systemic corruption? That to your right, to your front, to your back, it's corrupt.
It's corrupt, yes. Now, let's talk about your book. We can't do without that. And the title is, let's see the picture of the book over there. The title of the book is Rich Nation, Poor People. That seems to me to be a paradox. Yeah, talk about it.
Yes, it's just to link it with what we have been talking about.
All right.
A nation is rich,
but the people are poor.
It's a paradox, and it's a very pitiable one.
Mm-hmm. Were you writing about Nigeria or the African continent?
Well, the developing nations. I wanted to upgrade. I didn't want to call them underdeveloped.
Okay.
Because developing is now a general concept, even in Europe. Yes, they still refer to some areas as developing. So you find that in our own case, if we are not careful, while others are moving forward, we are either retrogressing or disintegrating. And like we have said, some of the factors we have earlier mentioned are responsible. And look at Malaysia.
Exactly.
Look at China.
Or Singapore.
They are export hubs in the world today. The principle of comparative cost, which you are taught in economics, didn't apply to China.
Oh, yeah. Yes, that's true.
Up to toothpick, China was exporting.
Oh, yes.
Not worse, till now. So, what are you telling me? So, what does this suggest? That, look, when we are saying we should have models, role models to follow, and we haven't gotten it right in that direction. If you go and follow the pattern or model of development of US, or that of Britain or Germany, you will never get there. See, the nearest to you, China, Malaysia, Singapore, because they have a good value for family, like we are.
Yes, that's true.
Okay. Italy didn't have oil. Germany, how do they do? Through their determination to lift themselves.
And that's a function of leadership, by the way.
Yeah, of course, it's the engine.
It's the engine. That's
leadership
true.
is the engine. And so, it's from his signals go to the other parts. And so, when we are talking, where once an African leader is there, it's authoritarian. What do we mean by authoritarian? He's very good at using authority, but hardly knows what to do with such authority. But very joyful in exercising authority. That's what we mean by authoritarian leadership. And he has fanatics, sycophants all around him.
In other words, he's cocooned. He cannot see beyond his immediate environment.
No.
All right.
So these are the things. So, in fact, there is a case study when China started with the iron and steel industry, which is the basis of industrialization.
It is. It is.
I remember, and I read a study then that the American ambassador was writing back home to be making mockery of the Chinese. Say, look at these people. What do they think they are doing?
Oh.
They want to iron and steel. They want to be like America. Let's see them. But
Today, yes.
Greatest exporter of iron and steel to the world.
Exactly. In our own situation, as a great economist, what's your perception of the economic index of this country? Where are we supposed to be as against where we are?
Well, you are supposed to be at the level of Malaysia, at the level of China, of yes, most of these are the Asian tigers.
Asian tigers, yes. Taiwan.
So this should be your role model. Take their trajectory. You know, that's employment orientation. You see, they constructed their own railways with their own this thing. The next village, you take over. From the other village, you take over, organize it. That was the way Chinese rails were built. Through their own sweat.
Oh yes.
You see. And it was giving every person food on the table. We are talking of ICT. We want to start from ICT level. How are you going to get it?
Are you disturbed by the fact that we have a few things fundamentally wrong in the system we are running? I mean, we run the presidential system, the executive, the legislature, and then the judiciary. Do we have perfection running through them?
Well, it's one thing to borrow. Another thing is to assimilate. Indigestion can happen. See? And that's exactly our own case. We borrowed the system, the presidential system.
Were we prepared for it?
We were not prepared. The culture to support it is not there. The culture of commitment, the culture of discipline, the culture of good attitude and progressive effort by every person, the culture of consistency, the culture of passion that we must get there. Nothing can stop a determined mind.
That's true. Absolutely.
So, do we have that culture? So these are the issues, and we continue to hope, because hope, expectation and hope, part of human nature. That's what is keeping us alive. But we still have to do things to move ourselves forward. See, rather than this sitting on a swivel chair and doing a merry-go-round, and you think you are making progress.
Where is our problem?
So relating, even look at the National Assembly, is there synergy? See, everyone is proposing something for his own interest. Nationalistic feelings hardly prevail. I'm not saying it's not there, but it should be the prevalent thing. Look at the issues now, disgraceful issues that occupying 90% of the time of our people. Even if you put something else on the table, but the mind is still focused on the rot. You see. Because legislators really work in the night. They don't have time. They work in the night, reviewing everything, what to say, how to write it, how to persuade others.
Yeah, that's good. I'm tempted to ask this. How do you score the executive? How do you score the legislature? How do you even score the judiciary?
And the irony in our own case is that the dog is the tail is wagging the dog. Our own system is so executive centered. But by the founding spirit, that is not supposed to be.
Exactly.
A situation where a governor will go and be kneeling down before a president. Okay. You are mixing tradition with modernity.
Mm.
You see, in private relationship you can do that,
But not in government.
not in government.
Yes. Yes.
It's not bureaucratic.
That's true. That's true.
And so you still find that this separation of power to some extent is not functioning well, and then the executive will be directing a senator. When you close, you run to him to brief him. You don't find that in the US.
You don't, yes. That's true.
Why are you called a senator? Look at the ancient Greek, what the senators are meant to do. They are the wise men. That's the highest you can go. Your gray hair is a symbol of authority and wisdom.
And wisdom.
And so here, executive-centered system,
You have any grounds against the judiciary?
where the judiciary, even as reported and depicted by one of the luminaries, late Justice Wires, he said,
Yeah, we have Justice Wise, I think so.
Okay.
Yes, that's him.
and that's him.
You recognize him?
Yes, that's him. So see what he said. And simply put, he said, that's it. A corrupt judge is more harmful to society than a man who runs amok with a dagger in a crowded street. Look, why? The latter can be restrained physically. I mean, when powerful men are there,
They hold him back.
they can hold him back.
Yes.
But a corrupt judge deliberately destroys the moral foundation of society and causes incalculable distress to individuals through abusing his office, while still being referred to as honorable. Justice Mohammed Wire, former Chief Justice of the Federation. So these are words of mambo, and I have nothing to add. If the insider and a top notcher
Could say that.
could say this, so that summarizes it.
Anyway, do you have heroes, by the way? Do you have heroes at all? People you like to admire so much?
Oh, well, current, yes. I like to appreciate, starting from my own country, Nigeria, I like to appreciate somebody like Chief Awolowo, Obafemi Awolowo,
Yes, that's
for
right.
his populist programs, policies. Like the free education, he was the first. Other states or regions then were making mockery of him. How can he afford it? How is he going to do it? But while we were in the primary school, we were having free health. Every month or so, doctors were coming, health workers were coming to examine examine us
And
in
you
the
have
class.
free books.
They were giving us books, even midday meals.
Midday meals, yes.
At that
That's right.
time, he afforded it. He wasn't indebted. So, and what people condemned at that time became their hallmark. You see, Eastern region followed suit, but could not, because they were not the original owners of the idea. So, northern part, Ahmadu Bello then was criticizing it, but I think later it dawned on them. So, what does this suggest? That values change with time and age.
Good. Any other hero?
Well, Obama in the United States, a transformatory leader who put his personal interest behind and pursued the general welfare of the people. I remember he was challenged then by the blacks, and he said, well, there is no way I can turn every policy in favor of the blacks. But I will do specific policies. So it's for you to fit yourself into them. That's a nationalist.
That's true. That's true.
Rather than concentrating everything like in Ijebu-Ode, Benin, or so on. So as a nationalist. He's a transformatory. And remember, too, that the morale of every American was at its lowest ebb.
When he came in, yes.
When he came in.
That's true.
But
That's
at the time he was leaving, morale was up. So he's one of my heroes, although junior to me.
Of
in
course,
age.
yes. Of course, yes. Of course,
So,
yes.
but he's my hero.
Yeah.
He's a role model, you see. But they also have their against our own culture, this lesbianism and all that, which he wanted to bring to Nigeria and Kenya and other places, he was stoutly resisted.
Good.
And he went back.
Good. I thought before this program we were talking about Clinton.
Clinton, too, was well loved.
Okay, that's him.
He was very well loved. I think he had a second term against all odds. Remember the case of Lewinsky?
Lewinsky, yes, yes.
And his challenge to every human being then was, you tell me who has never been broken once. Like the Bible says, cast the first stone.
Yes.
Every person ran back. And he apologized. He even went to Ireland then to do his apology. And some people were still protesting. But he won the sympathy of people.
He did. Absolutely. He did. He did.
That human frailty is always there.
Outside Nigeria, is there any other leader in Africa?
Well, Mandela is also worthy of citation. Look at what he did. He didn't mind people who crucified them. Said, well, this is time for reconciliation.
Did I hear you talk about Kenyatta?
Kenyatta is there, the Arab boy and others who spent time in the forest fighting the colonial masters, paving the way for independence and freedom for his people. When we are talking of freedom, it's not just civil freedom. Freedom for self-expression is there. Freedom to eat what you want to eat, live where you want to live, say what you want to say, without fear or favor. See, these are freedoms. In fact, freedoms, they say, in development. And then, you see, financial freedom is there. You work, you earn, you see, and then you contribute your quota, and it's seen that you are not passing your taxes to strangers.
Oh, yes, oh, yes. Well, this is the tail end. We must look at this maybe in the next few minutes. What are your regrets as a Nigerian now?
My regrets derive from our core values. The core values we ought to have raised so high now that every baby born, every youth, every adult, every old, ancient and modern should imbibe. And that's where the point at which we started. The core values are still relegated to the background. For recapitulation, 1, discipline. Nigerians have not attained that level of discipline.
Yes, yes.
For a sustainable growth. 2, the determination is not there too. Because you cannot stop a determined mind.
Yeah.
The 3rd, again, is the attitude and effort. Our attitudes are still not aligned to that of a developed system.
System, yes.
And consistency is also not there yet. Every person coming to power believes this is my time.
This is my turn.
This is my turn. There is a Yoruba language for it. Emilo Kon.
Yes.
So this is my time. So you have no say. I just have to do what I've come to do. That mindset alone is anti-development. See, there is nothing like your turn. It's a continuum. You see, and because you took over from somebody
Yes.
that was voted by the people, you will also go, either in a systematic way or through impeachment. These are provisions. So if every leader believes that I'm here to serve, not for self-aggrandizement, then we'll be moving forward. And passion, like we said earlier, which is the fire, the fuel, we have also not attained a reasonable level.
Yeah.
These are my regrets surrounding the failure to adopt the core values which we have enumerated.
Yes.
So
Are you despondent?
well, like we said earlier, expectations and hope are part of human nature. No reason to be despondent, because nothing is forever. There's always a time to weep, a time to rejoice, a time to be born, a time to die.
So our rejoicing is coming.
Yes, our rejoicing is coming. There shouldn't be any dampening of hope.
Okay.
But we have to imbibe the right culture
And values.
of values, which we have been talking about. That the whole discussion has been centered on these core values, which appear to me not sufficient enough to drive the. For instance, I give you an example. Last month, when a study of the cost of living in all the states of Nigeria was done by Nairametrics, it was found out that Edo State has the highest number statistically. Is the most costly out of the 10
It's
states.
the most expensive place to live. Yeah, that's right.
Edo State, out of the 10 most expensive states to live, Edo State number 1. The indices are there. For example, Edo ranked as the most expensive state in Nigeria, February 2025, with an inflation rate of 33.6%. Okay. Food inflation is also high at 35.1%. And so, on monthly basis, food inflation increased by 10.3%, while overall inflation rose by 8.9%.
For Edo State.
So you can see the driver of inflationary pressure, cost of living in Edo State. So what are we talking about? What do we mean by inflation? Simply means when more money is pursuing fewer goods.
Very few, yes.
See, money is everywhere, but what do you buy with it?
Even that is debatable now. Money is everywhere, you said.
It's also a question.
That's a
Only
question.
in the hands of a few. The
Anyway.
rich elite.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Prof.
So
You're
that's
very
the problem.
grateful, yes.
How do we combat change? We have to have a change in mindset that
Yes.
we must change our core values and embrace them. We should be dynamic. If corruption is your problem, be dynamic about it. Look for workable solutions. That's dynamism now. It didn't happen in China, it didn't happen in Japan until they started decapitating. And it worked. You see, look for solutions. Because there is nothing you are going to say. One of the banes of our development is corruption. When you don't put the right pegs
In the right holes.
you put square pegs in round holes because of one type of relationship or the other.
Well, we can go on and on and on, but you're a busy person, so we must let you go. But you've spoken well from the depth of your mind, And I'm sure that we took a few things into our mindset as well. We've been talking with Professor Johnson Agoma, financial consultant. I mean, you could feel all that expertise in his responses to some of our questions. He's been here as a guest, one of our very eminent guests, as usual, on the program Prime Movers on Providence Television International. We thank you very much, you at home and also in the diaspora. Many thanks to you, and many thanks to you, sir, for
It's my pleasure.
Thank you very much,
Thank you
Prof.
very much.
Thank you very much. My name is Emmanuel Legariba. We'll see you again same time next week. Bye-bye.